guys. This is Dabs with one more dab with Dabs and the homies. I've got Goof on the stage in my Discord, and I'm so excited about it, guys. It's fucking awesome. And this is being live streamed, and yes, I fully realize I'm talking to a stage or an audience of zero, but the audience will fill, and the recording will be there after the fact. So we are gonna switch from my camera right here over to Discord, where I've got the illustrious World of Dragons, Smash, aka the wifey, who is a delight to be around and married to the one and only Goof. And we've also got Ghostly Greenery, my partner in crime. And he will be with me. I'm pretty sure he just hit a dab. So we are already on the way to space. So let me switch it over to Discord and then shut my.
Wasn't it under the giant duck? I was legit wondering, dude. You are a computer maniac, and then you're telling us that you were putting the duck on them to like all of that was. I was wondering. So please, what is the duck holding down then? Right on. One of these screens. Blind. You're blind. You were not looking. I was being the blind person.
Hello, Dabs fam, House of Humans. Man, I really appreciate you having me on. I respect the heck out of you and getting to know you through spaces and just being in Web3 and smoking a bunch. We've spent some hours together and we vibe, and I really appreciate the opportunity. Oh man. Oh no. Yeah. 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 You're you're relatively inspirational yourself. Don't sell yourself short. You're a creator and a creative with your own style, whether it's musically or visually. And you are also, I'm sure, that inspiration for others. Yep, exactly. That is the truth. And we're weird. We're goofy together. Um, you know. Oh yeah, the laughter, the jokes. The Yeah, that's what keeps it going. Nice. Oh yeah, dude, that's fantastic. I love Italian food, and I don't like cooking.
Dude, someday we're gonna have to do some Alfredos and stuff. I'm a major Alfredo fan. Dude, I made an Alfredo ravioli the other day with it was just insane.
That sounds good.
Yeah, because it had like cheese raviolis and mushroom raviolis. So the ravioli, so it wasn't just noodles with the Alfredo. It had the density, the flavors within it. We had a spinach and cheese raviolis, and oh my gosh, like my boys are like, I think we ruined Alfredo for ourselves. Hmm. I just wish I could hear some of those after conversations. Like, did you see that one kid? I bet you was like pissing his pants. Oh,
And disapproved together.
they had their own language of hate. Makes a big difference.
Aw, aw,
Oh,
that's great.
it is. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. No, I
That's when
totally.
I'm, yeah, that's when the creative times come out, I feel. When all the busy work of the day is done and the creativity comes out.
And the goofballs.
That's what. Yeah. Sorry. I'm gonna.
Yeah. Well, honestly, it was kind of, you know, as a creative, a choice that it was kind of out of my hands. I worked professionally at what started, I mean, it was a sign company essentially. When
The what company? Could you repeat that?
a sign company that
Oh,
made signs,
okay. Thank you.
physical signs. And when I started working for the owner 20 years ago, and it was just me and him. So we dug holes and installed signs and did the design work and everything. And then gradually we built the company to 20 some employees. And I was able to assume my role as basically the design director with other designers there. And we became a one stop shop for all of your branding needs. It wasn't just show up with what you needed on a sign. It was, what do you need? What is the thing you're trying to communicate? And I got to do the communicating visually. And I kept doing that for years and years and years, and the passion never went away. And I'm proud of the branding and design work that I've done over the decades. It's, I'm blessed that I was able to create for this long, and then all of a sudden it wasn't enough. Excuse me. And I needed to create for myself a bit more, and in an outside of the box way, because I'm not a traditional thinker or maker of art. So I found NFTs and the Web3 way, which for the most part, the community resides on Twitter or X. And I jumped into Twitter the same time that I launched my first NFT collection because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't understand the community aspect of it. And I hung out in spaces and got to know, about tokenomics and NFTs and FOMO and what's trending and why. And it was kind of a fresh start in branding in a new way. And I got to know quickly Special K Glass in these spaces, who's a glass producer out of Oregon. I actually got to visit out there and blow some glass with him last summer. It was oh man, it was a blast. But Chris Olhorn, the owner and founder and glass blower of Special K Glass, sent me some glass, and I did some art for him, and we just kind of kept the conversation alive over about a year and a half. And then it came to the point where I see this need that he has to, like, for his brand visually. And I basically offered to be his creative director and, basically run his brand and visuals, with a certain rule set to try and grow the business. And I think we were pretty successful at it. I rocked it with him for about 9 months. And we rebranded, we relaunched the website, and I think visually he is in a much better place to represent who his company is, because of that work. And that's what I pride myself on. Yeah. The pieces that haven't sold, they are.
While he's doing that, I just wanted to say it's just I do remember hearing some of your journey before in some other spaces. It is always just so inspirational. I as a young, kind of more entering into it a little earlier and kind of growing and developing, seeing how you did go through your journey and just really evolve with it and continually find yourself. It's not about finding yourself once; it's about finding yourself multiple times as you grow. Like you were saying, you can kind of get stagnant and stuff, and that for people who do love a challenge and out of the box thinking, Web3 is such an amazing place to be. It's very inspirational. Thank you again for sharing. Always.
Of course, that's a really good point. Like, it's the place for people who can't keep doing the same thing. We need change.
Mm-hmm.
And I, you know, I think it's allowed me to be more free with my creativity. I don't feel pigeonholed to do one thing specifically. I
And
can,
one
yeah, jump around.
Sorry, I was just saying one of those huge things that I find is amazing is like you were talking about combining with another artist and then growing with other artists here and there and learning about the NFTs. One of the great strengths I find is the fact that we are able to, in the Web3 space, we encourage creativity to inspire and build on top of creativity. Whereas in a more in real life space, I feel because it was more of a competition and people were discouraged from building on top of each other, everything was completely original. But in a scientific and engineering world, brainstorming and building ideas on top of ideas is expected. But for the creative world, it was discouraged, which is obviously ironic and not supportive. So here, for the first time, we really get to support the most creative people in the world, combining their ingenuity and their creativity with the most creative people in the world, and just phenomenal results. And things go so much faster. And like the fact that you are able to reach out and help so many people and create this new ideal of a brand that reaches deeper and further into the community, building trust and connectivity and all of that is just amazing to me. And again, one of the amazing benefits of Web3.
I fully agree.
I don't know if anyone else is having problems. I still can't hear you very well, Dabs. Yeah, yeah. Like, I mean, like I was struggling to hear you and still couldn't catch all the words.
Yeah,
So,
it's better now.
yes. Yeah. it it shows her over here to me. It shows her over here to me. I see her on Discord. Oh, okay, okay, sorry. You
Guys.
started. I'll bring some light up pieces of art out.
Nice.
Fun too.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I was impressed because it's a style for TikTok that really isn't mine. So and you nailed it. Hmm. I hear you. I use like Premiere is where I do my like super high res stuff, but for the most part, I can accomplish what I need in After Effects. Um, gotcha.
Well, and hopefully that's something as a team we'll be able to change fairly soon. That's the plan. Yeah, that's the goal.
Hmm.
I think I happen to be Italian too, guys. I think that's like we're kind of like that soul brother sister kind of thing where we just recognize the Italianness.
It's not in my blood, but I'm kind of married into Italian through my aunt. My
Nice,
uncle
nice.
is like he's the president of the local Sons of Italy, and like the
I
Italian
also
festivals. Man, the Italian sausage sandwiches are so good.
I also did not actually get to get raised Italian. I was the only Italian in my household upbringing. So, but I feel like literally like the cooking and stuff, like that's literally what I gravitated to learning to cook. And I like do my own recipes and do my own thing with it because like the genetics are there.
Mhm. Hell's Kitchen, 47 burners.
47. I love that. I think I'd take like 8 and then a grill, like the solid flat metal that you can still do burners on. Do like a burner. I got lots of fun things that I can participate with. Yeah, because last
Yeah. Yeah. So it all started and is continues with Retrobot, which is a character that I drew one day on page. That was, and literally, like, I didn't know that, like, you needed to share this with people. I didn't understand how NFTs worked. But I made a 250 piece collection. It was not generative; they were all one of ones. Um, and they they varied, but not like they should have. But again, I didn't really know what I was doing yet. But I really liked illustrating and the PFP illustration style of things. I felt like I was pretty good at it. Um, and so getting to know people throughout, the time and the years and things. It started with 6 5 Beats, who's a space DJ, and yeah, yeah, no, me too. And I mean, we still talk. He's doing all right, and yeah, yeah. But he's like, it was his like passion and honestly idea for RLA, the rare lazy apepes. Um, you know, yeah, and that was actually a drawing that 6 5 did. He did the
Battery
initial
low.
character. And oh yeah, he can draw pretty well. Um,
Charging
and
battery.
he hit me with that, and he's just like, "Hey, like, can we do something?" And then honestly, because I'm not so great at the Twitter DMs, like, I didn't really respond. It was like a couple months later, and he hit me back up like, "Hey, like, I still want to do something with this." And it was one of those like perfect times, like when you're feeling inspired and you just like you get that message and you're like, cool, that's what I'm working on now. And yeah, it just, like, that it flowed into my life for a reason, so I'm just gonna do that right now. And I did, and within a couple hours I sent him back like an illustrated character. And he's like, "Yeah, this is awesome." And we did a little bit more tweaking, and it was like, "Hey, like, do you want to do this?" And we're like, "Sure." There were still NFT projects pumping, and like, the whole PFP project game. Um, so we did it. We launched a 10,000 collection. We only minted about 500 of them, I believe. Um, but I learned so much about doing a generative collection, what the metadata means, what, you know, all of the intricacies of launching a project. And, and art wise too. Understanding how to layer things and get tricky with it. To use these generators to use my artwork to generate several artworks basically. And you know, it took a really long time. Um, and I'd say I work on that collection for probably about 4 or 5 months. And we launched, and we were just kind of doing the founder thing for a while. And I'm always arting on the side, and through, just communication with people out here. I did, actually, the next collection, it was actually the Wild Child. Um, it was pretty much a free mint 10,000 collection. Um, oh no,
He's
no,
like,
you're
"Get
good.
himself."
It's got some like IP issues and like It was just I literally illustrated an entire 10,000 collection in 4 days. Um, that was that collection. It looked good. It just had IP issues and whatever. Um, and then Katrina, who I actually got to meet in person at Miami a little over a year ago, who has been building this project and brand, the Ugly Kids, had basically hit me and like, hey, I need an artist for my collection, and I'd seen her original artwork and how it could vastly improve, and you know we vibed, so we worked, and um it was a slow roll of illustration, just because of how she was building. So over the course of 6 or 7 months, I illustrated her. It's a 3,333 collection that does. They're ugly kids, and they're all U shaped and kind of goofy. They're my style, and she's still minting that project now, but she has so much growing with it. She has an apparel brand and coloring books and learning academies and all sorts of utility, and I really really like that. And that's where I found myself with the Festies and Simmer Down, and that is a project that I'm just about done with, but still working on. Um, it's going to be a 5,000 collection, and it is the festival goers. And it's full body characters with about 400 traits. And
Wow.
it's probably been about 5 months now, and we've still got time. It's not the market for it right now.
Hmm.
So without those three other initial projects, I couldn't have done the Festies. It would have been too difficult to try and add the layering over top of things and still think about multiple other layers behind it without training my brain to kind of operate that way. So it was a growth, as far as that type of artwork. Now, that's not the only type of artwork that I do, but that is what's been the most fruitful, um, financially, is illustrating for other people's projects, PFP characters.
That's amazing. Really. Like, sorry. There's like 5 points clashing in my head at once. Oh, I just was definitely enjoying listening. Like several points I should have written down when I thought of them. You know how that is. But it was again, it's just amazing. I was giggling a couple times because like the whole coming into the space. There's a lot of similar experiences I've seen with a lot of people who really are true to the craft. And then what you were talking about, it really does show what we were talking about before about combining the collaborative gifts together. Blesses like everyone by combining your gift with their gift, you both sides got lifted higher up than it would have been individually, and it really is just amazing again to hear the different intricate parts of your journey that have brought you there, and definitely the growth you've gone through. I super do agree, and I believe any artist would agree that every single new style of art we get into, we've got to kind of explore through that style and have that learning curve. It doesn't matter how many other styles you're good at. It might help you pick up these new styles a little faster, but you still got to learn that individual style and how you click with it and how you bond with your own and bring your own flair to it. So it's wonderful to see how you brought your unique artistic talent and worked and wove it into the Web3 world and found yourself a place there that really shines and helps other projects shine as well.
Thanks. Yeah, it has been fun. That I I'm currently working on a few illustration projects that are not they're in Web3, but they're not like PFP collections.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that's newer to me, and I'm really, really enjoying it.
Is that like a one-of-one style, like originally when you first came in, back to the one-of-one style? So
Um,
it's not a generative. What do you mean by not a non-PFP style? Would you mind
it's
elaborating?
actually for and I can talk about it. It's the Crypto Billy and the Billy Goat Club. It's I'm basically he they're putting out a book with 10 chapters, and I am illustrating a cover for each chapter. Um,
What a
so
collaboration.
yeah, so we designed a character. I gave him options, and we, went through a few billy goats and
Mhm.
landed on our character, and then he is going to be in these different scenes and settings and illustrations for these 10 chapters of this book. And that'll actually be coming out in before the end of June. Um,
Awesome.
so that'll be fun. Yeah.
What style is it coming out in? Is it an animated book? Is it a graphic book? Is it a in print, or is it an all of them combined?
It is in it's all of everything, and they're actually doing it in video format as well. They're putting this on
Wow,
YouTube.
right on. So literally every layer, which is the wisest thing to do. If you're going to put that much effort into building the storyline, the characters, and making it come alive, you might as well take it to every single layer available. You're giving more to your community and more to your bottom line potential as well.
Yeah, and it's not like a story. It's not a tale. It's for example, the first one is about community in Web3, and then one of
Oh,
them spirituality, and then one of them so I'm taking this new brand of this
mm-hmm.
character and putting him in these different scenes that kind of represent it. I almost think about it as like a textbook cover almost.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Is it
it's
textbook of Web3?
yeah, but
Textbook Web3 journey.
it's kind of about self betterment.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, I've really Billy, the founder, I really vibe with him, and I'm pretty far along in that one. It's basically just illustrating. I do is vector, so it just takes a little bit longer than
Mm-hmm.
just sketching something out, just because I'm drawing with a mouse.
For time wise. Besides, I actually did have, sorry, I just my thoughts.
Tonight, why? Oh, my fucking stream disconnected and reconnected. Damn it.
That's a nice tan.
Yeah, I'd love to. I got my pen and notepad out because I'm getting to the. Normally, if it's the daytime and I'm not like so tired, I was telling Dabs like the last couple nights I haven't had much sleep. Normally, I can keep training of my thoughts by the time like and it rolls around and I can remember them. But tonight, I'm just like getting waves of tiredness, and it's like the I'm having stoner brain.
I'm kind of expounding a lot too. I'm good at deviating in my conversations and brain.
I personally am enjoying it. Like I was enjoying you going into the depths of the different layers that you were working on, and it just exemplifies so many layers of the benefits of us bringing our gifts together and building with each other and building brands together, lifting each other up, because everybody brings something to the table. And that's why I love having chats like this where we get to deep dive into each person's journey, and without fail, the ones that have that longevity and the sustainability that really are making a big difference in the real world long term are people like you that are, free flowing within the environment. You're able to adapt, you're able to grow, you're able to change as it changes, and apply the tools available to you in unique ways, not be threatened by the new tools that become available. And I think that's something very important for all artists to recognize, is with all these new tools coming available, the more we involve them together. And if we're not the experts, we work with experts, and it is just love it all.
In my eyes, I feel like that through technology and AI and all of these new tools, like we've pretty much invented a whole bunch of new mediums of art all of a sudden.
Literally, I agree. We're bringing so much more to the table for each artist and what the potential they can get from each piece of art. You literally were saying that each one piece, that's like one of the huge things that you really exemplify, is you guys take one piece of art and you turn it into an entire brand, an entire line, and an entire project. And I mean, obviously it grows from there, but it can be inspired from one piece because you're taking every available exploration with that. And it's amazing.
Oh, and fun, honestly.
Yeah, and fun. Exactly. Especially when you're working with other creative people who are just like brainstorming positively together. Wouldn't
Yeah,
this be cool?
and I'm picky. I don't like, the people I work with. It's not just, hey, I'm doing a job for you. Like, you'll find me in their spaces and in their discords and doing the things with them because I vibe
Mhm.
with them. That's the people I work with. um
That's the best ones. And I feel like I'm like kind of growing into that journey. And so seeing like you, quite a few stages ahead, it is such an inspiration to me to just keep going on that path, because I kind of entered into that too, where I've had some communities that I could work with, but it wasn't as, connectivity, as comfortable, as easy to relate. And I'm trying to really work on building the team with people like that are like, how Dabs and I are working so well together and stuff like that, because at the end of the day, we're doing this for us and we want to be happy with who we are and the people we're surrounded by. And I think that's something that builds a foundation in the community of positivity and inclusion. And so it's really important that the founders get along like that. So just, I get, just relating everything is just wonderful to see that journey, those phases ahead.
Thanks.
Oh, okay. You were glitching for a second, but you're good now. That's awesome. Oh, real quick before you move on, I just want to say I love hearing that normalizing us working together and building like all of this into there and having those tools for new artists coming in. So not so many are spending so much time trying to figure it out and so long, but can get a couple of jumps ahead and facilitate all the people who really do want to bring something to the table. Awesome. Good
Nice.
to hear that feedback.
Sure. If it's a company I haven't heard of before, I automatically design a logo in my head for it. Like I already have a Double D Media logo, like right here. I don't know if you have one, but just because I haven't seen it, like I have a
That's cool. Your
logo.
mind computes into logos just almost naturally.
Yep. Oh, thanks. It's fun. I just hadn't thought about it. Like that was some of the first Photoshop work I did was collage work. Um, yeah, maybe you're right. It was, yeah, around the time when they started numbering it. Yeah, it has been. It just keeps getting better and better. Oh, it's oh yeah. No, CC now like
And it's
oh man, the stuff like the tools that like I imagine like it's just happening faster. Like before it was like, man, I wish I had a tool that did this and then like 8 years later that tool exists. Now it's like 6 months later that tool exists.
and what we can do with it too. Like that's something I was remembering from before was when you're talking about us getting together and we're like, hey, look at this, what could we do with it? The possibilities of that now available to amazing devs and people who like you guys who are able to bond with the digital realm and the computers and stuff is insane. So it used to take like an entire team from freaking Hollywood studios to be able to even make like a movie and stuff like that. But now these are things that can get done animated. We can bring so much to the table with with a high functioning team of elite artists who are well versed in these areas. And it truly is phenomenal what we are capable of now. With what? Oh, you
Oh,
did say corridor? Okay.
it's okay. Corridor. Yeah.
The corridor digital. Hmm. That's the key there is that high functioning and high drive. Like Goof, I would dare say that even if you were working in some job in the world on the side, you would still pursue art as a passion somehow. Like it would be a
Oh, yeah.
part of you. Like Same with you, Dabs. Like no matter what you do, it's always kind of, or it's almost like a therapy for some people, or and getting involved. And so the giving us a platform where we can really thrive with that and expand and grow it. It truly is an exciting time these days. And then combining that with technology, the depths. I mean, we are literally creating metaverse worlds out there where communities all over the world can gather beyond a Web 2 experience into which is why we call it the Web 3 experiences, because we can literally walk in with our avatars in a world together with people across the world right now. And it's just growing from there. So it's just really is an exciting time.
No,
Mm-hmm. 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 Exactly.
no, but those things, like, it's inspiring as a creator because you realize that you can, like, your creations, your voice through visual things can be
Mm-hmm.
seen and heard by a lot of people really fast.
And
Um,
valued, bringing value. It brings value to your voice in a way that is very inspiring and uplifting. And I I feel it does drive us to do our best, bring our best to the table every day.
yeah, and honestly, another company that I'm very involved with, Meta Rides, um,
I
they
think
have,
I've heard of them.
yeah, they're still building. They are in their first round of funding publicly. I mean, there's a lot of Web 2 aspects. They've really built a business. But along the way, I mean, I branded them initially, whenever that was a couple years ago. And
Mm-hmm.
now because in the past year and a half or so, I taught myself 3D. I'm building assets and characters and things for them and other people for the metaverse. I really, what? Oh
I'm
yeah,
not surprised. The
like
fact that you love challenges.
the festies and the ugly kids and the goats. I well for those brands, I created avatars for metaverses. Oh no, I've got them in 3D dancing and running amok.
So, so Goof, I have a question for
Yeah.
you, for the artist. So, when I jumped into a 3D realm in the real world, like I was hooked. Like there is a whole different depth. Does that apply to you with the 3D realm in the digital realm? Would you say
Yes. Yes.
there's a
Um,
whole, like visualizing the whole thing 3D is a different whole full different art than trying to do the 2D stuff. And
well,
so,
I kind of feel like I've always thought that way. Like I've always been able to think in 3D,
mhm,
but applying it was like,
applying it.
oh my gosh, like it was just like it just flowed, and I had so many ideas, and I'm still doing. And honestly, I'm teaching myself Unreal Engine now, closer
Oh,
to the games
good,
metaverse aspect.
good.
Um,
The, the
it is
same thing happened
fun
with
and
me and my
difficult.
dragons. I never really drew dragons. I drew all kinds of other things when I was doing 2D stuff. But when I got the medium I worked with and I just knew I could do anything I wanted with it, the first thing I did was the dragon. Because anytime I tried to do a dragon on paper, it just never felt, it was always so flat, that 2D, it lacked the life that I wanted it to have. And that jumping into 3D, it did. It spawned like everything, the layer, the real world layer, everything. So, it's very interesting to me to talk to artists who do have that 3D ability now that we're in a world that really clicks with it. Because before it was only stationary 3D objects that we were able to really mold, like sculptures and marbles and stuff. And those were not only limited, but very hard and long-term intensive to do. And some of the things I do are, it's either still long-term intensive, but the tools that we have to take them into these different realms, like your guys is making them moving, and like that's making them where they're touchable and interactive, stuff like that. Those are opportunities that we have, and it's really cool to explore that through those different areas.
Yeah, the our art galleries are not going to be the same in the future.
Oh.
They are going to
Mm-hmm.
be so much more immersive.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting there. We'll get
That's
there.
literally why with my art, that's one of the things that so my physical art begins with being touchable, and then that draws them into the digital, and then we go into all of the gear and all of the stuff that can come from that. But same thing, anything that gets people to be immersive and interactive where they get to be involved, I agree, is a huge bonus to any art community that you're building.
You have to leave some lines not like colored in your coloring book. You have to let them do some of that coloring in to make it
Mm-hmm.
their own. Um,
Yeah. No, I love that too, because like literally just as a real world applications, that's like what I feel literally what we're doing with these bubble buddy things. Like we were talking about with the new feather paper dabs, how we do the where we're bringing it out to the community and letting the community really guide us in what direction we want to go with that. And then as those sculptures become formed into the world with this new medium, they got to be a part of that journey, and we bring that to our unique communities and stuff. Like that's so just hearing you say that is such a deep confirmation to like these next steps that we literally have been talking about doing. So, again, just love hearing everything that you sharing all the deep steps of your journey, because it is so inspirational.
well, thank you. Um, mhm, yes. I'm 22. Oh, you are sharing. Oh, okay.
Oh, cool.
That was technically my first NFT.
Oh, wow.
Um,
How historic.
so there's it was actually a series of four, and they're actually moving gifts. That background spins.
Ooh. Are those runes, or are they just are like they have different script available in different fonts, or are they like do they
It's
have a meaning?
not particularly.
Okay.
They're symbolic. Some of them are a little bit otherworldly, kind of spaceship
Uh-huh.
like. I was just going for a sci-fi vibe.
The visual effect, yeah. So it was more for the visual impact, which is quite strong. It does make you feel like there's some language in there that we're missing or need to look
Right. And
into.
when it's moving, there's not as much ability to like focus in on one and,
Okay.
it took me a long time to make that pattern.
Wow. Yeah. And
Yeah,
keep it balanced too. There's a texture to it.
it is.
That's what I was asking. I see all different kinds. I do see like zodiacs, but I also see some individual Japanese symbols
I
and
would
stuff.
search like Adobe stock for like religious symbology icons. Um,
Ooh.
and then I would like, well, it wasn't a pack. Like I grabbed them individually, or yeah, it was mostly
I
individually.
know what you're talking about though. Like if you do a search for the elements and then it brings you up a whole bunch and you have to pick each one as you want to put
Oh
them in.
yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, I didn't understand 90% of them. So it was, but it's so cool. So see how it kind of looks like a cylinder, like
I do.
behind them, and so like it's basically spinning on that cylinder. Like
Could you, Dabs, could you send me the link so I can, I do want to see it moving live because with the, if you
it's
look at the
not
pattern,
there.
because some of the depths of the patterns and the way that they're layered, it does give some different textures to the background. And I'm really interested in how those textures interact and when it's actually moving.
Uh, you're gonna have to find it on Goof. Yep, exactly.
Okay, right on. Yeah,
We'll see.
that's it.
Well,
Sorry, go ahead, Goose. The evidence would be when I'm talking to like real when I'm talking to like real world artists that don't really know anything about NFTs, that right there is a literally one of the things I really highlight. How when we do turn our art into NFTs, no matter what happens to the physical piece, the evidence is always there that it was created. And you can even get digital replications and all kinds of stuff. So even if the original is gone, your actual work you created will always exist. And that's one of the biggest values that I believe the NFTs do bring to the art world, which is why I think it's so great that we have these places where we're working on educating more people on how to do that and then additional values they can bring from that.
I said,
Thank you.
so yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
I'm visualizing, but I can't wait to see
there's
it.
four. There's four of them there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um.
no, that's exactly what I was thinking. You know what, guys? I bet you if you could like tracking those, it almost looks like it's got a musical note. Do you know those little boxes that
Oh
play the ding 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 ding
yeah.
ding? Yeah. It looks literally like if you put one of those things on there, this would be playing music too.
Oh, that's cool. I wonder what it
Yeah.
sounds like.
Dude, right? Don't you now that you think about it that way? Like you could almost hear it playing music. You like that's what I was saying, the texture behind it. Once it was moving, I was wondering what what it looked like, if it was going to create a different scope and that's the scope it gets to me. It reminds me of some musical things that are playing. Dude, in like 1,000 You what? Oh, yeah. Read it and put it into musical notes. Dude, like that's
That
the
would
kind
be
of thing
cool.
that in like 100,000 years, they'd look back and they'd be like, "This was the pre-format of our new visual language." You know what I mean? Like,
I
the
have that
GM,
as flat artwork if it would help you.
the movie art, yeah, yeah, all of the movements in flat too. Uh huh. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Dude, it's gonna be so cool. I hope it doesn't sound horrible.
So,
Oh, don't let us on the toilet paper. That's a skit. I've seen it. We've seen it in dude, like those tomb kind of shows and stuff like that, and then ones for science or way on science and stuff. But yeah, it's like it's an audio language, textual.
yeah.
Yeah, an audio textual language. Yeah, that's crazy. Oh, I'm texting you the idea. Hey,
Oh, and the first, like, that was like my sci-fi. No, I was just say like that was me kind of like I love sci-fi everything. And I love the classic, I love retro stuff. So that's the iconic characters of Zardoz, Barbarella, um, Logan, and I don't know girl's name from Logan's Run, and did I say Barbarella? What was the fourth one? Oh, 2001: A Space Odyssey.
nice.
Yeah, so
Oh
that's
no.
what all those who the characters are.
Goof, can you hear Dabs? Dabs, did you say you can't hear Goof? Or are you talking to? Oh, okay. Sorry. Just as a co-host, it's my job to make sure everyone can hear everyone. But I love those pieces, and I think this is what I love about just like almost instant iconic art is the more you look at it, the more you see in it, and the more it creates your mind juices going. Like and you see it, and you want to do something. Like it's just like like I wanted to see it move.
I sold one of those. I sold the Logan's Run one. If you two each pick one out, I'll send them to you.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, dude, when I get my when I get my OG fire dragons from my OG to fire dragons that no longer exist, I'll give you guys both one of my OG one of those. There's only 500 in existence. So I've
Nice.
kind of yeah, I've kind of kept it hush hush because when we get bigger and stuff, they're going to be a lot. They're going to be like OG because those sculptures actually got part of my journey. They got stolen from my home, so that's all we have left. It's literally the proof we were talking about.
Oh,
That's all that's left of them in this world is the NFTs and images that was created from them.
wow.
Can you show the picture again, please, so I can pick which one I want? Because I was so busy just tripping on all of them. Like, I love art. This is how I got my art education. Like, I tried all of the art 101s and stuff like that the colleges offered, but they only take you through history and stuff like that. How I got my education, I could literally sit and stand and watch a painting for like an hour because I'm computing it in 1,000 different ways. The shading, the texture, the this, the lighting, the feel, the mood, everything, and each painting, whether it's even a bad painting, becomes its own educational lesson because why is this one bad? Why does this one feel off? And so like I was
And
like
did
only
they
like
do
a
it
halfway
intentionally?
in. Huh?
Like I love that, especially, and then you see it in professional artwork. You're like, cool, they made it off
Mm-hmm.
intentionally. Why did they
Mm-hmm.
make it off? And
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And how does that create a whole new feel? And it helps when you're really studying some of the greatest artists. It really does help break your ideas of perfectionism, because art is more than that. Perfectionism is a layer of art, but it is only one layer. There's a many others, like representationalism, and like this is it almost has an iconic look to it instantly. You know what? I would like the one with the two people on it. It was the very first one we saw that pulled me in.
I think
So I
that's the
will
one
forever.
that. Yeah.
Oh, that's
I'm
okay. That's okay.
sorry.
No worries, no worries. And you took the spaceman. I'll take the dancing girl then. Wait, is that the
Okay.
guy with the? I'll
Yeah.
still take the dancing girl though.
Okay. So that is Barbarella, and that is the her silhouette from the movie poster. She's actually holding like a space gun.
Oh,
Like
cool.
it's
That's
pretty
what. Yeah,
cool.
it looks like a woman of action. That's what I
Yeah.
like about it. Just look, and I'm a woman of action in my own way. Yep. That's what I like about it. Even in this image, there's without any references at all, I could look at that and be like, that looks like a woman of action. And so the fact that you gave me the backup with it is cool too. Wait, I want to write that down real quick. Would you repeat it, please? Dude,
This is
I
the
haven't even
first
processed that yet.
NFT. What was the? Did it have? It doesn't have a date on it, does it? I'm sure the blockchain does.
One says 2001, but is that the name of the piece?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2024. Right on. Ooh, can I see after you see yours, can you see when mine was made? Just curious because my birthday's in June. I think that'd be funny if it was made.
It just says 2 years. All right.
Nice.
Okay.
It's funny that the killer guy was made right after Valentine's. Can we check out mine, the dancing girl? Wait, what was her name again? Can you remind me,
Bar-
Goof?
Barbarella.
Barbarella. From what? That's super cool.
Yeah, her hair is.
Crazy. Dude, legit, when we get a metaverse together, that's going to be on a building. Like, tell me that does not look like an absolute fire thing that would be on a building tower. A movie to literally just step it up to like a high tech environment.
Yeah. 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 If you hit open in new tab, and then you can just save it. Or if you guys uh DM me your ETH wallets wherever, and I'll
We're
get those
following
over
each other
to
on Twitter, right, Goof?
you. I believe so.
Um, So for right now, I'm just gonna make sure we're connected. I'm just gonna say hi because this phone is the one I'm gonna connect, but I don't want to touch it and rug. So I'm just gonna say hi on my tablet, so we're connected, and that'll remind me to do it later. But thank you so much, and yeah, and I really did want to say thank you so much. Like that is amazing, and I already absolutely love it.
Yeah, of course. I'm excited to. They've been sitting in the gooftroop.eth wallet for a long time now. They need to find a home.
I understand that feeling. I love sharing art. That's what it's made for, right? Like I mean, it's just
That's
so
our
made for
voice.
it.
It's our voice. That's how we communicate.
It is. What's your handle on Twitter, Goof?
Goof Group 2025.
Goof Group.
Group TROOP.
Thank you. 2025. I'm sure we are following, but I just don't think we've had any messages recently. And
Well,
so with my stupid Wi-Fi, it'll make it hard to find him.
oh, I know. It's if I don't understand Twitter messages, why you see what you see. Sometimes it's like I'll miss a message that from like 3 days ago, but I'll have 14 messages from 6 months ago and ahead of it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just weird. I've had entire messages disappear. Like people send me their address, and then I go in to get their address to send them something, and it's just the whole top half is gone. Bottom half of the conversation there, top half is gone, just gone. I'm like, what? Yeah,
Weird.
you're not supposed to disappear unless you delete them.
What do you mean? Is it separate? But get it.
Alrighty, I found you. I just said hello, and then I'll do the other stuff later.
Cool. I got it.
Woohoo! Welcome, welcome. Oh, I thought you said we finished at midnight, but you started at midnight. I was like, it's 1:23 and we finished at midnight. So thank you for clarifying. No, you didn't. It's just my tired brain.
Yeah. Um.
Good
Number
question.
one, uh, the Adobe suite. Um.
Mhm.
Everything Adobe. I'm pretty
I heard
proficient in
that
a
book.
lot of it. Yeah. I mean, it's been 20 years in a lot of these programs, and I've been along for the ride of it, gradually getting better. And those are where I draw. That's where I edit. That's where I can mix in my music and do, advertising for people. I can, do, you know, but brand advertisement for people. And then once I learned 3D, now I can give people 3D brand assets as well. Um, you get your logo ready for the metaverse and you can have it spinning, and it doesn't seem it almost seems a little silly, but those are the assets that you're going to need in the future. It's not just a PNG and a JPEG and a GIF or whatever. Um, so if I can incorporate that in the branding that I do, I feel like I'm staying present with the things going on around us. Um, yeah,
Can I add on to that? Because so I hear you're incredibly familiar with the Adobe as it's grown, but you mentioned earlier that you were really getting into the Unreal Studio, which is a newer engine, but things like Adobe really inspired it. How do you feel that crosses over? Do you feel that it's something that incorporates in, or something that would eventually take over, or a tool that just adds to? How would you compare those together?
I would say that Unreal and Blender even
Mhm.
because they're relatively open source.
Mhm.
People can build in their own way with this technology.
Mhm.
Um, I think that they are going to be the major hubs where everything is accomplished. I mean, people who really know Unreal can create a generative 2D collection of NFTs in Unreal.
And with all the add-ons they have available, and I don't know if stuff like that links as well with the Adobe, but like they have all those add-ons that they update, and you can add all these add-ons that add additional features just right on in, which I found was pretty amazing. I haven't got to explore it a ton, but these are just some of the things that have stood out to me. But I haven't explored the Adobe as much. So you finding yourself leaning more toward the Blender and Unreal as those are getting more in depth, or are you still incorporating that Adobe equally, would you say?
I'd say, and it might be just because of my level of confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Like Adobe is kind of like that trusted paintbrush that I'll never get rid of. I don't care if it's only got one bristle left. Like it's
I understand. I love Canva. There's so many other editorial studios that have much different powers, but I still love Canva for its uniting capabilities. So I feel like the same way about that because I worked on it for 3 years and know all the ins and outs. Combined, you can just save it in so many different formats and stuff. So I think I recognize that, like that Adobe is always you just know everything about it and you can use it so fluently. So
yeah.
it'll always be a
It's,
trusted one.
I get excited when they add new stuff, and like I'm always running the beta of whatever the newest one is. Um, just
As it,
yeah,
as present as they are and as active as people like you are in them, maybe they will step up to the point where they have more offering and even do open sourcing like the Blender or at least maybe open sourcing add-ons.
there is.
There is.
Uh, yeah, a
Oh,
lot. It's there aren't like free anything open source really for Adobe, but there are. Well, that's not true. There are plugins. You can download plugins that people have made.
yeah,
Um,
but it's evolving though. It sounds like
yeah, and
if they want to keep up.
open. I mean, I live on like the forums too. Like
Hmm.
Adobe forums, just trying to find the most efficient way to do something, especially when you're dealing with large numbers of assets and high resolution assets and things like that. Like, I want to know the best way to make them ready for the next step. And that's really
Well,
what
that's
design
probably.
is getting things ready for the next step.
That's probably really good for them that you push it because you going in and asking these questions, you're prompting them to think about it and push it to the next level and showing them consistently to grow. So I think that's,
And they are
fantastic. You
now.
are so
Like,
good.
they really are growing fast. Like the updates, they're kind of blowing my mind, especially with the AI tools, how quickly they're adding new things to it.
Well,
Um,
it if the blender and them, they were having a lot. That's why I was asking, because I love talking to artists of all levels, especially digital artists, and over the whole Web3 realm, I'm hearing that same thing. So many people were comfortable with Adobe, but a lot of them are falling in love with the Unreal and Blender combinations. So that's why I was asking you that question, and I feel that it really does exemplify that they've got their finger on the top. I mean, they can't be Adobe on top of technology and not have their finger on the pulse of technology. So it's good to see that they're fighting for their place in to keep that top of technology.
Yeah. Okay.
That made their own what? Models?
Yeah.
Oh, that's double impressive. Yeah, they're not plugging into some generative one. Not that is impressive. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's and their community. That's why I feel that the Web3 structure of business structure is becoming so successful, is because not only do we get engaged with our communities, we listen, the best ones listen to them. They put those products, they let them test them, they let them try them. So when we're coming out, we're not just doing like a case study of 5 people that are locked behind doors their whole life and saying, what's the next product? We're actually coming to our community and saying, what would you like to see the next product? Here's some ideas we have. And like Goof and I was highlighting earlier, actually like getting them involved in that process. And then now this is our decision as a community of what we're going to do together, and having involvement in that also gives that proprietary that they're going to buy their new thing that they helped bring out. So it just
And
creates
they're going
a
to talk
much
about it.
stronger. What was that?
And they're going to talk about it. Like,
Absolutely, and be proud. And it's just like such a stronger business model because everybody involved is rewarded, excited, and happy to be involved.
yeah. Yeah. Good. Nice.
Word of mouth.
Well, have they seen it? This is the last time we're going to be out there.
It better be.
Yeah.
So immediately, you better make that stuff.
We definitely. Well, at least I.
Sorry, guys.
Okay. Well, yeah, and I think I'll just ride the unshriveled because it's always new work, because there's always new ideas come out of it, and then that's new brands. Every time somebody comes up with a brand, like that's potentially more work for me.
Yeah. I feel success breeds success. So people, some people that shrivel up and die is because they didn't have the heart or belief to back up the effort that it takes for that success. Some of them, it may just be they're not ready, might be not the right time, and they may not have the right education. So that's just a small sample. But people that are really pushing and believe and passionate about it, I feel, do create the success because they're more than selling the brand, they're excited about it, their energy, their creativity. Like you were saying, when you create one, people who are creative, they keep creating. They create one and they create another, and maybe not every single one of those takes off, but if you do one thing and it doesn't take off, you're done. But if you do 100 things and 10 of them don't take off, or 90 of them don't take off, and you have 10 of them that do, you still have 10 success stories, even though those 91 aren't. So people who just never stop trying. So this one might not work right now, but if they just keep trying and pushing, and their voice will be found in their community. That's what we're building in Web3, a place for every voice to find a tribe.
Yeah.
The only way to get through something is, oh, sorry. I was going to say is through it.
Yeah.
And you're going to stay in the same situation. You can't change the situation if you're not moving somewhere, forward, backward, sideways. If you stop, you are accepting the situation you're in.
Oh, and before and if oh sorry, go ahead. Dad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Real deal.
Yeah.
Hey, you don't just get to meet him. You got one of his pieces.
Right?
Dude, I'm so honored.
That was my I learned I learned After Effects to make that. Like I had never used After Effects.
Dude,
Like
I just love hearing your journey as I am also an out of the box 3D thinker, and hearing the different things like I made feather paper to make a phoenix for a community, and like you learned After Effects because like we set our minds of this is what I want to do, now what do I have to learn to do it, and I admire that so much, and I feel that that's just such a great example of don't let anything stop you. You decide what you want and find the tools or learn them or create them, whatever's
yeah,
necessary.
for
He does. I don't think he knows anything about it yet because it's really, I'm just really coming out with it. So, yeah. Yeah, definitely we give you the time to know what he's talking about. Right on. I'm going to bring a glowing mushroom and some glowing dragons. to our after party.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Um, I mean, several collaborations, but the first real one was my Gooftronica collection of Retrobots. Um, I met a guy in Spaces who goes by Art for Brains, and he like I immediately like looked up to him as an illustrator and an artist and saw what he was doing and was kind of blown away. Like, and he really understood the layering for a generative collection. So working with him, even though it wasn't a generative collection, we just did 101 of ones, like how he worked and designed, I got to like touch and feel and bring those things into my work and sew them in, so to speak. And I learned a lot. And I just really liked his style. I won't say that it influenced my style, but it helped me step outside of my own quote unquote style um, for the first time.
Opened your eyes, maybe,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
the
Exactly.
potential.
Yeah. I was, I wasn't necessarily like narrowed in on
Hmm.
something, but I wouldn't have taken it to the degrees that he did. And it
Hmm.
helped me in the future, even now, today,
Hmm.
think outside, even further outside of the box.
Love
Um,
that.
but at the same time, like everything has to be functional. So
Yeah.
and problem is what I love
Hmm.
is
That
it's those two things. Yeah.
yeah, the journey, like we were just saying, the journey of this is what I want to create. Now, how do I do this? And that I feel is the journey of the people that really like to push the boundaries. And that's why the Web3 scene is so exciting, is because there are so many places that we really can push the boundaries artistically, things that haven't been done before or done in a unique way or applied this way. So that I love, that's amazing to hear. And it's exciting to see how you bring that into every level of what you do, clearly.
Try to. I try to.
Even from that first NFT that was so like it wasn't just a PNG, like just you know, you,
Right.
with no disrespect to ones that came out as PNGs, but the fact that you put so many layers and every single thing and did so much to it and really created its own movement, and while there's movement and stuff, it really does show the depth that you brought to everything you do. And I think that's another critical thing about your success and your success with working with people, is you really do have that fine detail to pay attention, to be one of those elite that make, I heard this one thing one time, the difference between a great artist and an extraordinary artist is that last 2%. A great artist will take it to 90% to perfect. An extraordinary artist will take it that last 2%. And
Yeah.
definitely see you guys both, and that's what I very much respect about you. You both take that last 2% to just take it from a picture that's just awesome to, for you, Dabs, that picture that just sinks into itself, or for you, you know, that actually almost, like I said, we want to go figure out the language on it, you know, and that is what takes it from that amazing to just mind blowing. it it has to. I feel. I no. Mhm.
You gotta kind of, and I like listening to my work.
Mhm.
If
Knowing
it's
when to
telling
stop.
me, yes, yeah, if it's telling me it's done, or pivot, or hey, I'm done, but let's do something else with this idea.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like,
I that's I love how you said that though, because I think that really that is exemplifying that 2%. I really think that's what captures it is the ability to listen to your own project. The people with the 98% have tons and tons of skill, but they don't know how to listen to the project of whether to pivot or whether to stop here or go forward. And actually finding the perfection in the imperfection. I have a real like simple example. So when I was doing some rehabilitation on my wrist, and I was really that's when I really jumped into art, and I was doing wood carving, and I'd been working with these other woods that was really easy to use and almost just like a board. So it was very very precise. I understood it. Then I worked with this one more raw piece, and I was doing it for someone, and it was a birds and a waterfall with mountains in the background, and right in the very center, when I was shading, there was a pocket of sap in there. And that pocket of sap, instead of having these beautiful lines that I had expected, boom, now I've got a hole that big of pure black in the middle. And like this is where I learned the lesson is I could have scrapped it, I could have tossed it, all of this and that. Instead, I listened to the piece, incorporated that, and it made it brought so much depth into this little whole cave under the waterfall that I wouldn't have thought of on my own if I hadn't listened to the painting. And it brought perfection with its imperfection. That's when I learned that lesson. And that's that 2% that they know it's okay. It's okay to be a little wrong because that's right.
it's just like your signature on a painting.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if you took a photograph, your signature wouldn't be there. But without that, it's not yours. So it's okay to have 100 little signatures in the way of what you might call a mistake or an oddity or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, embrace it.
And 3D artists actually go for like that's one thing when I was doing a little playing around with Blender and doing videos and stuff like that. The educators were actually the videos were actually talking about you actually want to build in imperfection because like an apple is not absolutely a perfect sphere. It's got to have these little dimples and folds and stuff. So it's interesting that a concept that was so challenging for real world artists to learn through the process is now so just taught within the 3D modeling. And I think that is that example that ties it back to all that we learn, ties back to every artist in the world, no matter where you are. So it's great for us to learn and grow with each other.
Yeah, and it wasn't even Blender, but back in the day, learning on Rhino and SolidWorks, I learned through rendering. Like that's how I learned about lighting, like
Mm-hmm.
how to light things in real life properly was rendering things in 3D. Like
That's
I knew
beautiful.
about colors of light and temperature and all. I mean, I sure I did learn it as well, but like that's how.
You probably had an instinctual one, but when you had the computer available to just flip through it and be able to, at the click of a button, be able to do all these samples, you got to
Yeah.
have so much more experience in such a short time versus going and getting all the blinds and getting all the lights and getting all the temperatures that you would need to in a studio setting. It would take you a lot more time to get the same real world experience in all those different angles than you can simulate in the computer environment. So it makes sense that being able to play with all of that color and shading in an instantaneous environment versus having to rearrange everything physically would greatly enhance and speed up your skills in the real world environment as well.
Yeah, yeah, and add a sun, sure, why not? Doesn't matter what time of day. All right. The future, I think, well, using the word NFTs, I think has a few futures. I think that the PFP style artwork is going to stay around, but the like 5,000, 10,000 collections, I don't foresee that being a long lasting thing. It's kind of just a token, and I, you know, unless it's a community driven project, I don't see that sticking around. But the foreverness of NFTs lends itself to, I think, this drive for artists to be forever. Um, there's a permanency in what we're um, trying to say, and this is kind of that answer, at least for me. If I know that every single thing that I put on the blockchain, like somebody's gonna be able to find that. My kids are gonna be able to see that. My freaking great 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 grandkids or whatever are gonna be able to see this because I put it in this place. It's kind of like a safe with a big window on it that everybody can see into. And I mean, for something, you could take the whole system down or whatever. But my vision with what we have is better curation for artists. And what I mean by that is artists are like, you can't just have a bunch of websites that have art on them. You need to have a reason for those pieces to be together, much like a gallery would curate a show. And I think that that's what we need. And however I could be a part of it, I will step into that role. I don't know what that role is yet. But I think that will be the bridge for in real life galleries and digital galleries. I think that'll be a bridge between, you know, a curator and an artist. Because that conversation isn't had as often as um, I think it should. It's just, here's another platform. If you have art, put it here, and then you sift through it all.
Mhm.
I think that answer needs to be found if we're going to continue to onboard people into Web3. And I'm all for it. And I'm however I can. Because when we have this digital catalog of artwork that shows ownership and transactions from past, it also brings actual value to the artwork and
Mhm.
could potentially make money for artists, where it hasn't been in the past anyway. And residuals. I mean, like royalties on our work, whether or not a platform enforces it or the person picks it or whatever, however it works in the end, that model is correct. Paying the original artist for future sales. I think that model would work in a lot of things in life, but art is definitely one of them.
But I think you really. Oh, sorry, Dabs, please. Oh, no worries. I was saying, I think that really exemplifies how it really, for me personally, I think it's really important for any community to have some sort of a purpose to that community, like you were saying, to be there. And, do you see a lot of projects? Because I try to focus and encourage people to have projects that connect with the real world. Do you see that as a value, for the example of we have the real world dragons that go into this, and then this represents different products. So, like, if we're connecting these communities with the 10,000 NFTs, but all of those NFTs are connected to maybe this, like, just to throw something out there, like an exercise a group, like the fitness 24-hour fitness or something. So everyone who has an NFT now, they've got access to this fitness for the cost of the NFT, or it gives them discounts or something like that. And utilizing, because a lot of people are utilizing it in either discounts or real world activation, so that that brand also becomes a representation with that. That's what I'm seeing, as I feel is the way. So it's not just representing the art, but taking the art and taking, like you're doing, and building an entire brand. And what can that brand connect with?
Yes, definitely. And I guess before, when I said that, like, I think that the collection part is going away, I guess I mean like the number. There, it's not gonna be like it. I mean, it's basically saying, hey, there's 5,000 people in this club. Hey, there's 10,000 people in this club. I don't know how important that's gonna be in the future. Maybe that is
Okay.
important. Um, that it's that FOMO aspect that um is unfortunately real. But
So do you think connecting the artist to encourage to build their platform out, where they're connecting it with other people in the spaces and connecting with different communities, different
yes,
attributes, different utilities, as well as real world? And that to me is kind of like what you were talking about, where we're teaching ourselves and we are teaching each other how to flesh out every layer of art available in the Web3 space, and truly make your art a business, not just art, but it actually, that art and yourself as an artist becomes a business, a brand, and that happens through the connections and connectivity we make here.
I also really want to help others with their brand or
Mm-hmm.
themselves, because a lot of artists, your brand is you. um
Mm-hmm.
and I know how to do it. I would like to help people, but I don't necessarily know how to start that conversation most of the time. Or it's just, it's in passing. It's not like I can solve all the problems, but
Absolutely.
I think there is a great opportunity for artists to um, put themselves into the next level up
Mm-hmm.
visually, for others outside of Web3 to see, who you are and what you're about.
And turning art from more than a hobby to an actual career and industry. That's the boundaries that I feel that we are breaking through here. And I think you are a fantastic example of that, and really show how that's possible. And I love the fact that you are willing to come out and help other people learn and build in that journey too. Because branding yourself is critical in this environment. Having a community is critical, and how to be faithful and loyal to that community and learn to listen to them. These are all critical things that people from a real world aspect have, literally, that I've talked to other artists, literally no clue about how to even manage, do, or even think of. So it's great that there's people here ahead, so we can standardize that. And you were saying how you don't know what that role is. And I think that's very fair and valid, because I don't think we have that role solidified yet, because the ecosystem is still growing and developing. So I think is a role that will have to be grown into and developed.
Yeah, and I'll push for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know you will.
Me too, if I can help.
For the most part, Dayton, Ohio. Um, Latest update is I'm doing a collage series. Um, it's incorporating. I like to explain it as I'm growing pinup models with AI and then planting them in a digital garden and filling it with flowers. So and
It's so descriptive. I love it.
they're a little goofy in the form that these pinup girls that are in these models, they're all black and white, but they all have flies on them. Like they're like large illustrated colorful flies. Um and I reworked through the whole collection the past couple days. I decided that each sequential number, she will have a different number, the next number of flies on her.
Ah,
So by the time I get to 100, like there's gonna be flies all over the page,
this is gonna be
and
covered. Yeah, just covered.
but it'll still talk to this piece that only has one fly on it. Like it should be kind of cool.
You literally get to see the journey as it grows.
Yeah, yeah. I'm really
Exactly.
excited to see what number 89 looks like, but I will not. I'm gonna do them in order. Um, so yeah.
I think it's good to do them in order because, huh? Yeah, I think it's great to do it in order because you do get to grow with it. And as you're doing number 78, then number 80 is forming in your mind where the other one's going to look, how it's going to, and you really get to take your time to let your brain do those calculations in the background. Whereas if you jump from 0 to 80, you have so much to calculate, then going back and forth, you'll be like, well, where am I going to do this? So I think you get to grow with it, and that'll be a good thing. And then
Yeah,
the art
yeah,
will represent that growth too.
yes, yeah, and you can see it from 1 to 10.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pleasure's mine. Pleasure's all mine. Hmm, truth. Yeah, loyalty.
Uh,
Yeah.
Tuning into Dab Daddy Radio with the illustrious DJ Dabs.
I did want to say thank you as well. It's been an absolute delight and an inspiration on multiple levels.
Yes.
Oh, thanks. You are also a delight to speak with. Like I feel like we will be speaking again and hopefully
Uh,
collaborating in our own way for
yeah,
some
I was gonna
other things.
So let me close out the
thank you.
stream.
I was gonna say I
Let me close out
yes,
the stream
yes.
real quick, and then we can just
Okay.
continue bullshitting.
Sorry.
All right, folks.
No worries, no worries.
Once again, this is Dabs with Dabs, or excuse me, one more dab with Dabs and the homies. We'll be back again next week with none other than Carolyn Hammond from Web3 Wednesday. And the questions I have in store for her are completely different because she's the one who came up with these questions. So now I have to come up with better ones, which is going to be
Oh,
interesting.
dude, those were in depth. That's gonna be hard.
Yeah, I know. So as usual, if you're not into this kind of content, I have all kinds of other content. You can find me and my friends here on Twitter 98% of the time. We all have link trees. We all have links everywhere. You can find us. We're easy to find. We're easily approachable. Um, I mean, first time I talked to Goof, I maybe had 50 followers, and he welcomed me with open arms into the community, and I was amazed. So that being said, if you're in my Discord, hop up on the stage, come hang out, come smoke some weed with us. If you're not in my Discord, why the fuck not? And finally, if you're not in my Discord and you are a holder, get in here. because the only people that are coming up on my stage are holders of mine. So I'll see you next time. Love ya.